Almost murdered. Experiences. According to Reddit. Number 15. A mentally ill kid in my school stalked me for a week. He had intentions to kill me. He said it was because I made fun of him. Turns out, he thought I was someone else. So there's that. The teacher said the video footage was creepy. That I'd be walking down the halls and that he'd be behind me, just staring. His plan was to put a shank in my neck. A teacher caught him before he stabbed me, and I remember the kid left in police cuffs. It's crazy to think that your life could end in an instant, not just because somebody tells a lie or implicates you for something you didn't do, not just because people are unhinged and weird, broken, and taking that out on you, but for an accident, literally mistaking you for somebody that you're not. That's pretty crazy. Every day I feel like I'm not as loud in my own headset. I'll turn myself up and hope that it's not too much for anybody listening. But it's the beginning of the list, maybe you can adjust accordingly. A hello to Ariana, PB&J, Pandaren, Tylor in the chat. Here's hoping you're having a spicy beginning of your year. Let's continue. Number 14. I was staying at an extended stay American. No, sorry, I guess extended stay America is the place. It's kind of like a, I don't know, like a hotel or whatever it is. I was staying at the extended stay America in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, in the summer of 2018. I had my dog outside to go potty, and as I was walking inside, a car pulls up and stops. Just before I can open the door, I hear, "Hey, nice dog." I turn around and see some dude step out and literally pull out a knife. I don't say a word. I tell my dog to jump, grab her mid-jump, run inside and slam the door shut, breaking the lock into the engaged position in the process. The building was, and still is, incredibly worn down and barely held together with toothpick-level materials. I wind sprint to my room and unlock the door with my card key. Just as I walk, or in, I look out the exterior window in the hallway and see the dude actually looking into the building to presumably see which room that I'm staying in. I get into my room, lock the door, and call the front desk and simply say that the back door to the building's lock is busted and that there was also a dude back there in the parking lot that was walking around with a knife. I hear the clerk say, "Again? All right, I'll call the police in." So this isn't like an isolated incident. This is something that just happens. Knife-wielding dude at the back of a hotel. The weird part about this guy's TLDR is he says, "I nearly got shanked because I was walking a Boston Terrier." The weird thing about it is, like, you have to understand that the person probably means that, "Oh, I almost got stabbed because I was out walking my dog." But when you name drop the type of dog that you have, it's almost as if you're saying, "Oh, I nearly got stabbed because of the type of dog that I had." Like he gave a shit about the type of dog. He didn't want to stab your dog, he wanted to stab you. And he didn't want to steal your dog, so the type of dog that you have is not pertinent to this little explanation. Why are people so weird? Why did he phrase it like this? I gotta release it or it'll bother me for the rest of the day. It'll bother me for the rest of the day. What is that noise?
A dog. A tiny dog.
Are you for...
Yeah. The neighbor got a tiny dog in there. Like one of those dogs that you could probably put in a purse.
Okay.
Yep. That's the new annoyance next door.
As we continue up this list, we arrive at number 13. I was working at a gas station. It was night and slow, so I was sitting in the office watching TV. All of a sudden, one guy comes in behind me and another guy comes in front of me, and the guy in front says, "Don't get up." I give him the wad of cash from my breast pocket and then the money from my front pocket, and they rush out back into the darkness. Give me 1 second. I stay put, just like the guy said, and then I called the owner. A car pulls up to get gas. I tell them that they need to pay by credit card or exact change because I just got robbed. Then I reach up to touch my neck, and it was bloody. The guy in the back was holding a knife to my throat. Holy bing bong. Dia, could you check the front door to see if there's anything out there for me, please? We're gonna have to breeze through this list, ladies and gentlemen. Kyle style. This is why I don't normally record during the day. It's about to get real. Number 12. This is my aunt's story, but it's too good not to share. My aunt was almost killed by the famous serial killer, Michael Swango, the killer doctor. She worked as a unit secretary at the ward that he worked in regularly, and they knew each other well. Part of his routine was poisoning people that he worked with and admitting, after he was caught, that he was planning on killing her, but his coworker got suspicious of him, and he left town before he had the chance. Damn. For real with this dog, bro? For real? It's just gonna be countless dog time, for real with this dog though. Number 11. I was getting screamed at by my ex as usual. I don't remember what I said or did, but he grabbed my arm, pulled me off the couch, started hitting me, and it wasn't the first time. I'd never seen him so angry, and I'd long since taught myself to not react and give him the feeling of having power over me. If I didn't cry, he would eventually get bored and just stop, eventually. Next thing I know, he pushes me up against the wall and wraps his hand around my throat. I was having a hard time breathing, but I still wouldn't cry. Just as I was about to pass out, I gathered all my strength and punched him in the ribs as hard as I could. He dropped me, and before I could catch my breath, I hit him in the balls. When he was down, I kicked him in the ribs a couple of times and locked myself in the bathroom until he came and started the usual apologies. I knew I needed to get out 2 weeks later, and I did. It's been 8 years. Bitch, you lucky that he didn't decide to kill your ass when you opened up the bathroom door. You should have called the police. They'd believe anything you tell them. Trust me. Trust me, bro. Especially if you got a little bit of bruising. He's gonna go cruising. Oh no. Number 10. When I was 19 years old, I dated a girl whose dad was a psycho. Was probably just over 5 feet tall, but all muscle. Did a bunch of time in prison for drugs and violent crimes. Once had a guy cut him off in traffic. Followed the guy and finally boxed him in, tore open his car doors and held a knife to the guy's crotch, threatening to cut his dick off until the guy wet himself. This level of crazy didn't find most of this out until after the fact, but me and her lived together in the apartment. I worked afternoons, she worked days. There was a couple of hours in the afternoon when no one was there. Had a day off and was running some errands. Came home in that time frame and nobody was home normally, or when nobody would normally be home, and her father came walking out of her bedroom. I asked him what he was doing there, and he told me because he liked me that he would be honest. He said that he was there to rob us. He was on drugs and was in the middle of a crime spree. Held up a bunch of people in the complex who were entering or leaving the building that came through our bedroom window. What the fuck? He said he looked around and didn't find anything, so he was on his way out. He said he wouldn't hurt me, but if I ever told anybody that this happened, including his daughter, I would disappear and nobody would ever find me, and he walked out. The whole time he was talking to me, all I could think of was don't give him a reason to attack me. And that I had a coffee cup in the living room with almost $1,000 in it. Thankfully, he did not find that. I thankfully never saw him again. My relationship was on the rocks, and this gave me the needed push to get out of there. I never told anybody what happened until after he died. And good riddance to a piece of swine like that. Dia, can you imagine like coming home and finding your father and he's there trying to rob you because he needs money for his drug fix? And then worse, he admits to you that he's been robbing other people in the place that you live, like in the surrounding area. And then he says to you, if you tell anybody, you will disappear and nobody will find you. That's what he said.
Yeah, no. You move.
Candor says, why is there money in a mug? Because if it was anywhere specific, people that were coming to rob might be able to find it a lot easier. Candor says, why is there money in a mug? And it's because not everybody trusts banks. Take it from me. Sometimes money gets stolen and then ends up held up. And until you have to jump through a bunch of stupid ass hoops, you're not going to get that money back. You won't have access to your own money. That's how the bank works sometimes, homie. But you know what the bank can't come take is some cash that you got in a cup. You understand me? And if people break into your house and they're like, okay, where's the safe? Where's this? Where's that? Give me your wallet. You know what I mean? They ain't checking no dirty ass cup that you got up on a shelf because they're not thinking that that's where the money is. Why is there money in a mug? Because it's a place you wouldn't think to look, baby. Continuing up the list, we arrive at number 9. I've told this before, but I witnessed a murder directly in front of me while I was sitting in my Jeep with the top down. 2 guys were arguing on the sidewalk. I was just sitting there. They knew that I was there and they didn't care. One guy pulled out a homemade shank from his pant leg and straight armed it into the other guy's eye. I will never forget the crunching sound when the blade went into his face. The murderer looked at me once and bolted. I ran up to help the guy, but he was fucked. Blood was spouting out of his eye in gushes, and he was moaning horribly. He died as the ambulance arrived. I was the only witness and nearly testified in court, but the guy pled guilty and got 15 to 25 years. You could get more for having a little bit of weed. I'm always going to throw that in there. You got the wrong YouTuber if you think I'm never going to mention that. Little bit of weed is the end of the world for some states. But you could kill a motherfucker.
And you'd be fine.
You know what I mean? You know what? You're going on pause for like 20 years, bro. You'll be out on good behavior. Still have nightmares about this 25 years later. Hey, he's probably free by now. It happened 25 years ago.
Oh my gosh, that happened around 95 then.
Guys, you know, I want you to feel safe. I want you to feel like you are in control of the world in which you live. You know, I want you to feel like you can do anything. And that's why I'm dropping a link that's going to help you make a lot of things make more sense. Click through that link. You can do that. You can make that. Believe it. Date bayo. So we continue up this list, boy. Number 8. Sorry, I'm just getting a little bit of air. So I was backpacking in South America and was getting a bus between cities in Brazil. As you may know, night buses are routinely robbed, and I was unlucky enough to be on the bus at the time. Oh my god. Being the only foreign person on the bus, they obviously rinsed me dry. Passport, cash, phone, all gone. I was then locked in the luggage compartment until they left the scene. Now, Dia, first of all, what the fuck you doing in Brazil? Why? Have you never been on the internet? The gnarliest videos we always see are from Brazil. Brazil. You know what I'm talking about? Bro, the gnarliest videos the internet has to offer are all coming from Brazil. Do you understand? So, why are you going there? First of all, imagine being in a foreign country and losing your passport. As if that ain't bad enough, you've lost your money, so you don't have means to make anything move. You scared. But at the very least, if you had your phone, you might be able to call somebody to sort something out, my dude. But you don't have any of those things. You're being locked in a luggage compartment in a bus that was robbed. It's terrifying. I'm not blaming the person for going through all of this because they went somewhere, you know. People like to get down. They like to visit places, but Jesus. But Jesus. Oh no, oh no, oh no. I was put in the luggage compartment all while having a gun pointed at me, and that sucked. What sucked even more was that a week later, when I was getting onto another bus, they robbed us again. Sorry, I was coughing like a bitch. Again, they and straight to the only foreign person on the bus who didn't speak Portuguese and demanded all of the stuff the previous robber stole off of me. I was pretty much crying with a gun in my face, and I had nothing to give them. They took me outside of the bus, and I thought for sure I was going to be killed. Again, they locked me in the luggage compartment while they robbed everybody else. I booked flights from then onwards.
So this person didn't book a flight.
Listen. Some people deserve what they get. Kyle is not trying to victim shame or blame anybody for bad things that happen in the world that happened to the victim, but holy shit, bro. Do you get what I'm saying? You're a girl with big titties and, you know, hourglass shape. You're going to go walking naked down a dark alleyway? You're going to go walking naked in a park at night? Y'all do shit like this? And it would not be your fault whatever happens to you, but you don't live in a utopia. You need to use discretion. You need to discern. My dude, I'm not saying Brazil is a no man's land that none of us should go traveling to, but boy, you better be motherfucking prepared, homie. Because even the utmost preparation in many scenarios is not going to matter. Number 7, that's terrible, and it hurts me to hear it, but damn. I was a freshman in college, and in my first semester, I pledged to a fraternity. One night, I was assigned to work the door at a party. Ooh, you're a bouncer, and somebody's gonna lose their shit. Bouncer is like really dangerous work, man. Around 1:30 to 2 a.m., a group of guys that worked at the dining hall, my God, sure, sorry, showed up and each paid $5 per cup. A few minutes after they paid, the last keg kicked, and none of them got any beer. As soon as they told me that the kegs just kicked, I started counting out cash to pay them back for the cups that they had bought. Before I could get them their money back, one of my drunk pledge brothers decided to physically force them out of the door while yelling and shit-talking at them. As soon as I could calm my buddy down, I went outside to give them their cash back, only to be met with a big surprise. When I made it down the back steps, the cheesesteak guy aggressively steps forward and says, "Y'all made a big motherfucking mistake. I'm strapped up, motherfucker." He pulls out a handgun. He had it in his waistband and points it directly between my eyes. In that moment, it was remarkable that 18-year-old me didn't shit his pants. Didn't shit his pants. I just remembered I gotta buy a dryer. I'm dying inside, man. I'm just ready for that skeleton life. A few of the other guys in the house stepped outside and we were able to talk the guy down without incident, but it felt like I had that gun between my eyes for an eternity. Long story short, I was incredibly lucky that I didn't get shot that night, and needless to say, I went with...
If you turn up the volume on Super Rebels videos, it just becomes a video of really crappy gameplay.
Oh, you're saying if you turn off the volume on the Super Rebels videos. I mean, he has new gameplay. I'm pretty sure he's just recycling the same gameplay, dude. That's what we call B-roll. And appreciate the donation, first of all. Thank you for that super chat. You know, you're hardcore. And it's going a longer way than you imagine. But Happy New Year as well. Yeah, no, man. Super Rebel can't play this game. That's the comedy. Super Rebel views this as an opportunity. What you got to understand about Marvel's Avengers is nobody's talking about it because the game's dead. The day that people actually start talking about Marvel's Avengers again will be the day that I guess it managed to either pay somebody, because you know they've paid streamers before to try to play their dumb game, but there's nothing in it, so they need to calm down. Long story short, Super Rebel really knows how to bend over his user or player audience. And just milk him for a little bit of cash. And he's always like, go to my second channel. And he always uploads videos and goes, whoops, I accidentally uploaded this video to my main channel instead of my secondary channel, where he's trying to hustle people with all these grifts. It's ridiculous. But, you know, they subscribe to that, so I have no comment on suckers. That's his audience, and he can treat them however he wants. Because if you smack people in the face, and they don't say to themselves, wait a minute, I don't like this treatment, and they just continue to put up with it, that's that. Why are you wrapping things around your breasts now while not wearing a top? What's that?
I'm trying to cover my boobs for decency. It's hot in here.
It's hot in here to you? It's never hot to you.
I'm sweating.
Just because something's wrong with you. You think you're dying?
What?
You think you're dying?
Probably. What a thing to say to someone.
It's 76 degrees outside. Cloudy. Teddy Oyama says, that timing. What's timing about it? How are you guys all doing? You guys having a flat chested day? I want you guys to be all perky and jiggly for life, okay? Have a great year. It's the beginning. You can choose what happens. Number 5 on this list. Damn, baby. A coworker of mine told me that a perv... Nope. That a previous... Is that what you wanted it to be, Kyle? You wanted it to be a perv? That was going to be an interesting story if it was the case. Shut up and continue reading. Coworker of mine told me that a previous job, years ago, where he was one of a handful of software developers. He reviewed a ton of historical data they had on their returns from shared leases on public payphones. You'd pay for a share of a phone and they'd install the service and would share in its revenue. He found massive anomalies in the data, things that were just not adding up in a big way. He found the owners of the company they ended up skimming a ton off the top before telling leaseholders that the phone's actual returns, which were naturally much lower than reality. Whatever, bro. This amounted to millions of dollars a year skimmed because they had tens of thousands of phones leased across the US. My coworker thought it would be best to make copies of the data that proved his findings. You're boring me. Get to the murder. They brushed him off a number of times for months, saying that in effect, it's none of your business and you need to go away. Then out of the blue, months later, they asked to meet at this out of the way place to explain it to him. He didn't think much of it, so he went. But he had a copy of the data secured in his safe deposit box, separate from him at the time. When they were there, a guy approached him and said, "Are you Mr. Blank?" And he said, "Yes." The man identified himself as FBI agent Bing Bong, flashed his creds, and told him that he would come away, that he needs to come away with him right now, that his life is in immediate danger. There is a contract out on his life, and if you stay here, the man that you're supposed to meet with is not anyone on your company's management team. They are sending an assassin paid to kill you. We have another FBI agent picking up your wife now. So he went with them. You know the crazy thing, Dia? Let's talk about this. If you ever encountered somebody that had credentials to show you to prove that they were FBI, it will be really difficult to believe them. You know what I mean? They would really have to just hit me with some shit that could prove that they were FBI tier. Shit that nobody else should know. To prove that, yo, yeah, you are the type of spooky government bastards that have been running surveillance on me for not just years, but pretty much my entire life. They wouldn't have to prove their identity. They'd have to prove who I am to me. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, like who am I?
Who am I? You know what I mean? Fuck you. I don't care to know who you are. I want you to tell me who I am, and then I'll know that you're really FBI. That's crazy, man. If somebody was like, somebody's trying to make an attempt on your life, you need to come with me, I'd be like, you need to come with me. Second location, bro. I don't know, man. Oh yeah, you want me to get in this car with you? Can I live stream this, bro? No. Oh, I bet I can't live stream this. Dirty motherfuckers. Well, I went with him. The agent pretended to be him and went on with the meeting. His team took down the assassin, and the assassin spilled the beans on the bosses. The big boss fled the US back to his Eastern European country of origin and disappeared. The others were all arrested. How fast can you flee the country, Dia? If the FBI is on your tail, how fast can you flee the country? You know, you got a private jet, and the FBI aren't gonna, I don't know. Exu says, I almost committed a murder last night. Were you looking in the mirror and you were figuring enough is enough?
That's me.
Oh, man. On his meat, he says, psh, y'all ain't seen titties pretty enough to be murdering no meat. Okay, that's the bottom line. Can we go? No, this is rude. My friend turned over all the data to the FBI, and the FBI was already surveilling these people and happened to catch a phone call where they had communicated the details of the murder for hire. Oh, pretty cool. So whatever. Surprised the government was paying attention to some cool shit like this. Wow. Number 4. I was out one night with friends. An acquaintance was being super creepy, following me around all night and generally just giving me bad vibes. I had one friend offer to distract him while another walked me out to my car. Totally took them up on that. The next day I heard he ended up killing the guy that distracted him. Dia, that makes me want to take a drink. Holy shit.
That's so sad.
That is beyond sad. That is beyond sad.
What happened?
The person who's writing says, I'm never living that one down. I feel like if I had not agreed to let them distract, that things would have gone differently. For better or for worse, I do not know. But my friend might still be alive. Nobody blames me for it. Dude was just crazy. It's just that, what if I did something differently? It's survivor's guilt. Dia, wow.
I don't know if I could live with myself knowing that one of my friends, because they wanted to protect me, are now gone. Obviously, it's the psycho's fault, but I don't think I could live with myself.
Number 3, boy, that bums me out. When I was in high school, a random new kid started stalking me, like following me home from school. I'd see him outside my house. He'd stand by my locker at school. He was weird. I told my counselor, but they didn't really believe me. I told a teacher that I was close with, and he talked to the principal. Wouldn't y'all just give $1 million motherfucking dollars to go back to school and have dirty motherfuckers not listening to you these days? Your parents don't give a shit about you. You know, they'll tell you they love you, but it's really just like, get the fuck out of my face. I'm clothing and feeding you and doing all of this shit. And to be honest, yeah, they've done their part. They've done more than enough. They could have aborted your stupid ass, but they let you live. So your parents have done enough, bro. But when you're at school and they actually hire a motherfucker and call this nigga a counselor, and you're rolling up in a counselor's office like, hey, there's some really bad shit going on and I'd like some counseling. And the counselor's just like, well, whatever. Bro, start illegally recording people. I don't give a fuck. You're a kid. You can get away with everything. Kyle does not condone doing anything that's against the law, but you are a child and the law will not prosecute your ass like an adult. If you want proof that the people who are supposed to be on your side are not on your side, maybe get that proof and put these people on blast. You know what I mean? Because the fact that somebody is following you home, waiting by your locker, you're not wanting this. This is not consensual. And the people who are supposed to be hearing you out when you go, hey, this is going on and I'd like for it to stop and I want some guidance, and they're just like, well.
And you know what sucks? Is that even if something bad does happen and it's their fault for not being proactive, they won't feel bad about it.
I've said it 1,000 times, Dia. When somebody hits it with that and rolls up to school and hits them with that, everybody's standing around Pikachu facing like, I don't understand what happened. But then somebody else goes, but the warning signs were all there. You get what I'm saying? Like, he came to y'all on multiple occasions.
Like it wasn't just warning signs, it was blaring alarms.
This dude needed help.
And no one did anything.
And y'all was like, nah.
And
nah.
it sucks.
I gotta go cheat on my wife, said the guidance counselor. With this science teacher who's messing with all these kids, bro. Gross. Ah, boy. I told my counselor, but they didn't really believe me. I told a teacher that I was close with, and he talked to the principal. They said that they'd watch out. After about a week, my boyfriend was pissed that the school wasn't helping me. He confronted this kid, and they almost physically fought. Finally, he got kicked out of school, and about a month later, less than 3 miles from my house, he strangled a girl my age who also went to my school and dumped her body in a field. The kid ended up killing.
Just not this person.
The kid ended up killing.
Hope it feels good, but again, they probably don't even care.
Get me out of this list, boy. This was hardcore. This was some gnarly shit. Number 2. When I was 13 years old, my friend and I were out skateboarding, and for some reason, this one woman got really angry that we skated on the sidewalk in front of her house. She began screaming incoherently, and we just laughed it off and kept going. My friend went one way and I went the other, and a minute later, I'm still just riding on the sidewalk to go back to my house when all of a sudden the woman yelling from before pulls up beside me in a car and starts screaming again. Full disclosure, I replied with some pretty graphic expletives and told her to get on her way with her old crotchety, saggy ass, dirty old bitch. Mad you ain't young no more. Ain't nobody gonna love you anymore. What you gonna do, baby trap somebody to get them to stay with your wrinkly, stupid, ugly, yelling, sorry, miserable ass? Nobody likes you, bro. Nobody's gonna tolerate you, bro. You're chasing a fucking kid on a skateboard, bro. You mad because you don't have any fun? I'm so sorry that this is your life now. Enjoy being irrelevant for the rest of your existence, because that's what it is. It's not a life, it's an existence. You're old.
Taking it personal.
You're fucking old, lady. So I told her to get away. You know what I mean? I continued riding and she just drove away slowly beside me while continuing to stream. What the fuck? The woman eventually drove off, but then she did a U-turn and came back towards me. I expected her just to pass by and go home, but then I noticed she was actually driving directly at me. I froze and just watched her car come at me. Eventually my brain decided that I had to move. It was literally like a movie. I just dove away as the car drove where I was standing. I don't know her exact speed, maybe 30 to 40 miles an hour. She just continued driving, and I sprinted home. She was later arrested and pled guilty to assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill. I'm surprised that she pled guilty, because women can just lie and get away with everything. And if you don't think that that's true, then your experience is incomplete, you dirty bitch. Suck my balls. She actually pled guilty. That's a shacker. You know, were there witnesses? Were there cameras? Most people will lie. My favorite things in the world are like dash cam footage of somebody being the problem, being the reason that an altercation or a crash or any kind of accident happens, and then they immediately jump out and just start lying. And people have to say to them, hey, bitch, this is all on the dash cam. So I know you're gonna flip the script and say one thing even though something else just happened, but guess what? Like these people, bro. Number one, okay? Give me all the air. I was a clerk at an appliance repair shop. Some guy had brought his riding lawnmower in to be worked on, but decided that it cost too much to have repaired, so my boss asked me to load it up onto our lift truck and drive it to his address. I was 17 years old and had my relatively newly minted license, so it felt like a big responsibility, and I was happy to do it. I loaded it up just fine and drove to his address. When I started to unload it, I noticed that the battery was unattached. One of the technicians must have removed it to work on it or something. Unfortunately, I had no tools to put it back in. I checked the work order and it said customer declined repair, needs replacement engine, so I thought, whew, he won't care because the engine is dead anyway. I ring the doorbell and this fat drunk guy with no shirt opens the door suddenly. I had lowered the riding mower off of the lift truck and had pushed it into his yard. He yells, "What the hell are you leaving that pile of junk in my yard for?" I said, "Is this not your riding lawnmower?" And he says, "Hell yes, it's mine. Put us in pieces. I don't want that damn thing. What the fuck is wrong with you people?" So I apologized and asked him if he wanted me to load it back up. I didn't know what else to say. For some unknown reason, this pissed him off even more, and he disappeared back into the house. I go back to the truck to radio my boss, this was back in the days before cell phones, to see what she wanted me to do. In the meantime, the drunk bastard stomps back out onto his porch with a shotgun, leveled it at the truck, and pulled the trigger. The windshield shattered, and I literally couldn't hear anything but the ringing from the noise. This dude pulled the trigger on a shotgun at a 17-year-old kid? Bro, that sounds like money, son.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's when you want to give the microphone to your mom. You want to find a microphone and just be like, "Hey mom, talk into this." "You did what? That is my child!"
Yeah,
Yo.
that's where you want your mom to
Yo, mom, come spit at this dude. While he has to sit there in like the courtroom. Oh my god. The windshield shattered and I literally just couldn't hear anything from the ringing. I jumped into the truck, started it up, put it in reverse, and floored it out of his driveway, almost going into the ditch on the other side of the road. He fires again, this time hitting the passenger side of the truck near the door, blowing shrapnel into the cab of the truck, which hit my leg and cut me up quite a bit. I flew back to work faster than I have ever driven before, called my mom and dad, told my boss I was never coming back to work there again. The cops came and took my statement, arrested the dumbass, and I had to testify against the motherfucker a few months later in court. He only spent 6 months in prison for it. Were you black, kid? Why the fuck did they not do this? It just burns my heart up to know that a 17-year-old kid, obviously regardless of their race, is only gonna have a person that leveled a shotgun at them and fired twice, my dude.
It's scary to think about.
It's scary to think that if he actually fucking killed this kid, maybe he'd be in jail for only 20 fucking, years. When if they catch you with a little bit of weed, they'll put you away for life. Are you joking? What is with this system? Luckily, by the time things were settled, I had moved away to college and didn't have to worry about him anymore. This sucks, man. The world we live in sucks. And at the very least, I guess it can be I don't know, something to be pleased about, that we're not having to deal with people this unbearable? What do you mean he was only... A pro-Trump lawyer insists that he is not insane after tweeting that Mike Pence should face execution by firing squad.
You mean he's pro-Trump but not pro his vice president?
What do I even say to shit like that? How long we gotta, we know how long we gotta wait, and it's about 18 more days. But is this old fool going to make a wannabe reality TV show?
Did you not hear what he is trying to get people to do on January 6th?
I don't know. I don't care. The fact that they haven't revoked this fool's Twitter access, it just drives me insane. What do you mean they can't, bro? Of course they can.
He's the president.
Oh, he's the president. Which means it's okay for him to stage protests, right? For things that are, I don't know, legal. Hilarious. Hilarious.
Not what we can do.
I'm dying. And ladies and gentlemen, what's going on, Kid Arachnid? It is like 12 noon for me. I'm gonna go ahead and take care of business. I gotta move some things around, try to make life make more sense. And here's hoping that nobody makes an attempt on your life, bro. Because this is sick. You imagine being 17 and having some dude pull a fucking shotgun trigger twice on your ass. To the point where you actually get some shrapnel in the leg. You're getting cut up, bro. But they're like, nah. How about a couple of months? That ought to do it. What kind of representation did this drunk man have, Dia?
They could have tried to do, it was on his property and he may have felt, that this boy.
He was on his property and he felt threatened or something.
Yeah, some stupid shit like that.
Okay.
It's dumb.
I will never understand why firing a gun at someone with lethal intent would put somebody in prison for only 6 months. That's insane. The person responds, his lawyers argued that it wasn't intent to kill. He was found innocent on attempted murder, but guilty to some lesser charges. That's part of why it still torques my mom. Bro, you couldn't have a dad in this situation, bro. Most dads would be willing to go away for some shit like that. And you know the funny part? They would make the day in court the biggest joke of all. When they go, you pulled the trigger and killed this man. His dad would get up on the mic and say, it wasn't intent to kill.
You can't.
It's about sending a message.
Oh my gosh.
I engraved. And then the defense would be like, Your Honor, are you aware that he engraved the phrase message on the side of his bullets? And I sent that message and I'll do it again. Sent it right through his brain hole. Are you the family of this dude? Do you know that he pulled the trigger on a shotgun on my son? Well, I didn't miss. And I wish he was alive again because I wouldn't have learned a lesson. I would just want to kill him again. Put me in jail all you want. I will sleep and dream of pulling the trigger. Do you want to know what his last words were? It sounded a little bit like gurgle, 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 gurgle. That was his blood and what I assume was a small percentage of his saliva, but it didn't last long because I took a sock that I had jacked off into earlier and shoved it in his mouth, and then I told him, I thought I told you that we won't stop. I thought I told you that we won't stop. Oh, baby, baby. And I played my favorite song by the Beastie Boys, Intergalactic. Sorry.
You know what I learned today? I don't think it's something you even told me. But apparently the Black Eyed Peas before Fergie had some other lady.
No, the Black Eyed Peas before Fergie would just use a bunch of different chicks.
Someone said that no, they did have like a lady in their group at one point.
Well, now,
but then she left because she wasn't about it. She wasn't about the changes that they wanted to do, and then that's when Fergie showed up into it. So.
I'm never gonna find somebody with an Xbox D yet. Are you gonna allow it?
Do you want someone to fuck with your Xbox account?
It's not like that. I have to find somebody that I trust.
That's what I mean. Like, you can't just give it to anyone. And unfortunately, the more time passes, I feel like the more desperate you'll get. And I don't want that to happen.
I do want you to all know that I love you, and I hope that you guys have a great day. I'll be back before the end of the day. No worries. Hope you enjoyed this early day list. Stay out of trouble, and love yourselves. Bye. Black math.